The Communist Party of China was formed in 1921 with 58 members. Today, it numbers over 90 million. Since 1949, when Mao and the Communist Party took control of China, they have ruled without an election. Victory in war gave them legitimacy, and after Mao, economic growth justified CPC rule. Today, two political systems dominate the world: Western democracy and socialism with Chinese characteristics. The West explained to the developing countries that democracy was the secret ingredient that made countries rich. Many poor countries tried democracy, but it did not make them rich, because it was not democracy, but military strength that created the wealth of the West. Superior military power allowed Great Britain and the European imperialists to plunder the colonies, and later allowed the US to impose a dollar hegemony on a world that produces goods to sell to America, whereas America produces only the dollars to buy these goods. The universal strength of the dollar is backed not by gold or productivity, but by the strength of America's armed forces. After the century of humiliation, the early Chinese leaders rejected democracy and instituted one-party rule. By 2010, the party had succeeded in uniting China, creating stability and security, releasing hundreds of millions out of poverty, and making China a world power. The success of the China model has made many developing nations question democracy as a solution to poverty, as they study the ways China has been governed over the last 70 years. Developing countries that have tried the democratic electoral system are plagued by electoral fraud, an inefficient court system, a corrupt police force, and leaders who are too often corrupt and incompetent. Though democracy may be a fair way of distributing the accumulated wealth of rich nations, the last 30 years have repeatedly shown that faster economic growth has taken place in countries that are less democratic. Even in rich nations, democracy has thrown up some surprising results, such as Brexit and Trump. In democracies, public popularity and the ability to win elections creates leaders. In China, promotion in the party is determined by merit, experience, performance, and track record. The Chinese system has supported the rise of highly educated, disciplined, and competent leaders. Great leadership has been the key to China's success story. The four most important pillars of the Communist Party are the Organization Department, the Central Discipline Inspection Commission, the party's schools, the Propaganda or Publicity Department. Western corporations have HR departments to handle human resources. China's Communist Party has the Organization Department for evaluating and selecting leaders to control the government, the SOEs, education, health, and media. It is the world's most efficient and professional human resource machine. By the time a leader reaches the top in China, you know what you are getting, unlike Western democracy, which has degenerated into a cycle of elect and regret. The Organization Department has been headed by the most powerful figures in China's politics: Mao, Zhou Enlai, who headed the department 4 times, Kang Sheng, Chen Yang, Deng, Hu Yaobang, and Zheng Qinghong. The Central Discipline Inspection Commission became most prominent in Xi Jinping's massive anti-corruption drive under Wang Qishan. errant party officials are not punished by the courts but by the Commission, which makes sure that party members are not led astray by temptation. Entry to the system is through merit-based exams, but the education of party cadres does not stop there. Party schools continue higher education to ensure the quality of leadership. The eminent list of presidents of the Central Party School includes Mao, Liu Shaoqi, Kang Sheng, Hua Guofeng, Hu Jintao, and Xi Jinping. The fourth pillar of the party is the propaganda department, which has been renamed the Publicity Department. It controls China's 2,200 newspapers, magazines, TV, film, books, and internet. The interest of the state overrides free speech and individualism. Dissent is discouraged, a small price to pay for the economic uplift that has added so much to the lives of hundreds of millions. In the debate, democracy or one-party rule, China supports strong and effective government. The US holds the opposite view, as expressed in the famous comment of President Reagan, "Government is not the solution to our problems. Government is the problem." The immortals and the leaders that followed lifted 800 million Chinese out of poverty and made China rich. Their achievements are unparalleled in history. In the process, their families grew fabulously wealthy. Western media clarified that there has been no evidence of wrongdoing or improper influence. The princelings grew up together, went to the same schools, and lived apart, segregated from ordinary people. They were an extended family with all the right contacts, well placed to score the most profitable deals. They got the best land deals, the SOE jobs, and the best opportunities. But their biggest money was made in finance and investment banking. Chasing the giant deals was known as elephant hunting. And JP Morgan, the most aggressive of the elephant hunters, hired 222 princelings. They were later fined $264 million under the US Corrupt Practices Act. Goldman Sachs, Citibank, HSBC, and UBL also fell under investigation. Princelings who became stars of the financial scene in China included Jeffrey Li, son of Li Ruihan, Winston Wen, son of Premier Wen, Chen Wan, son of Chen Yun, Alvin, the grandson of Jiang Zemin. An American investor explained, "To get the best deals, you have to know the right people. That is why you invest in a princeling fund." 15 princeling funds raised $17.5 billion. A study by CAS, the China Academy of Social Sciences, revealed that 2,900 princelings had a combined wealth of 2 trillion RMB. Conspicuously missing from the list of successful princelings were the children of Chairman Mao. Where were they? Mao married 4 times and had 10 children. 3 died as infants, 1 died in the Korean War, 3 were abandoned or lost, and 3 lived ordinary lives. None of them became rich. Mao's second son, Anqing, survived the horrors of his youth. He had lived through the execution of his mother, who was tortured and killed for refusing to betray Mao. He was smuggled to Shanghai to live as a street urchin, scavenging for food and sleeping on pavements. His mental health was damaged. He spent much of his life in mental institutions, played no part in government, and died at the age of 84. Before dying, he described his father with 3 words: the perfect man. Today, in 2020, China is recognized as a world leader in technology, with more graduates of the STEM studies, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics than the US. China's engineers have created many of the astounding mega projects of the modern world. The north of China has 2/3 of China's farmland, but only 1/5 of China's fresh water. In 1952, Mao had casually remarked, "There's plenty of water in the south, not much water in the north. If at all possible, borrowing some water would be good." This casual remark inspired the South-North Water Transfer Project, costing twice as much as the Three Gorges project, and will transfer 44 billion cubic meters of fresh water from the Yangtze to the arid north. On 14 September 1994, China started the construction of the gigantic Three Gorges project. Over 14 years, 40,000 workers built the largest concrete structure in the world, the biggest dam and the biggest power plant, capable of generating 22,500 megawatts of electricity. Costing $37 billion to build, with a reservoir of 405 square miles, the project forced the relocation of 1.2 million people, as 13 cities, 140 towns, and 1,300 villages were lost. The reservoir at its maximum holds 42 billion tons of water, a weight so heavy that it slows the rotation of the Earth and increases the length of a day by 0.06 microseconds. China has developed a high-speed rail network covering 29,000 kilometers, 2/3 of the world's total, while the US has been struggling to complete the 840-kilometer San Francisco-Los Angeles line. These trains travel at speeds of 350 kilometers per hour, as fast as a Formula One racing car going flat out on a straight road. China is now recognized as the world leader in high-speed rail technology and has exported HSR to Mexico, Thailand, UK, Russia, and Turkey. Seven of the 10 biggest ports in the world are in China. Shanghai Yangshan, the world's leading port, cost $70 billion to complete. Built 32 kilometers out to sea from the mainland. It is connected by the Donghai Bridge, itself a major engineering feat. At the time, Donghai was the longest sea bridge crossing in the world, but it has since been overtaken by the 55-kilometer Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau sea bridge. China's National Trunk Highway System overtook the US Interstate Highway System in 2011. Today, running to 142,000 kilometers, it is more than double the US system. China's fabulous highways are an engineering marvel and run across the sea, across the mountains, through the cities, through volumes of traffic. China has excelled at building bridges for more than 1,000 years. Our modern bridges, numbering more than 1 million, include 7 of the 10 longest cable-stayed bridges and 90 of the world's 100 highest bridges. These amazing mega projects are visible proof of the Chinese miracle.